Hi all, my name is Helga. I'm the youngest in my family. There are two of us. I also have an older sister, Mirabelle, who's autistic. Despite her diagnosis, I loved her madly from her first days. She and I were always together. We ate together, slept together, played together, bathed together. My parents couldn't get enough of our special bond. Mira and I were two sisters in all the world, and we didn't need anyone else. Even though she was 5 years older, still, I felt as if there was no age difference between us. It wasn't until later, as we got much older, that they started taking me to the hospitals where they took Mira. When I turned 6, I heard the word autism for the first time. I didn't find the word intimidating because looking at my sister, I knew there was nothing special about her, nothing wrong with her. I loved her as a friend and a sister. So everything was fine until a certain period, until I went to school. I forgot to tell you that I was born a full girl. Mira had a good figure, thin, and I was fat. My first experience with other kids happened at school. Didn't I tell you that I spent my whole childhood with my sister? She didn't like it if I went out to play with other kids. She only wanted me. We played the same games almost all the time, and Mira often focused on one thing and could play that way for hours. That seemed normal to me, but then again, not always. There were times when I wanted to invite other children outside to play, but then Mira would throw a tantrum. She threw tantrums quite often with our mother, but sometimes also with me. Mira didn't talk much, just a few words here and there, which made me even more bored as I learned and saw what live communication meant. My first year of school was amazing. I made friends. I was increasingly invited to parties with my classmates. Mira stayed home with our mom, and I went here and there. I started having a different social life, and I liked it, just not for her. Where are you going? To school. Again? Yeah, I'm going to school. You're going to have fun there, right? I'll come over and we'll play. That's what you always say, but then you go out with strangers. Mira, they're not strangers to me. They're my friends, and I love them. Do you love them? Do you love me? I do, but you're my sister, and they're my friends. It's different. So I'm worse. I'm boring, right? No, I didn't say that. But Mira wouldn't listen. She started to get hysterical, loud, and persistent. My mom ran to her and showed her hand to go to school. She understood what it was all about, so she didn't scold me for it, for wanting to develop and communicate with someone more than just my sister. Gradually, we drifted apart a bit. After a couple of years, I made more friends, and with them, new problems. One day I was invited to a pool party. I went there excited because before, I'd only been swimming with my family. I thought it would be fun, but when I put my towel away, I heard people laughing at me. It was the boys. They were laughing at my duck-back swimsuit. Look, the ducks parted on it. That swimsuit is about to crack from the sides. Helga, just don't jump into the pool, or there won't be any water left. It will all splash out. That's how they laughed. I went home in tears, told my mom about everything, and Mira overheard it. She took pity on me, supported me. To be honest, it was very valuable. So for a while, we started communicating again, playing games. I would go to class and run straight home afterward. But then I had a conversation with my mother, and she asked me if I wanted to change something about myself. I said that I actually wanted to lose weight. Then my mom promised to buy me a consultation and a nutritionist and fitness coach. Why lose weight? No one is friends with me because I'm fat. So what? Well, I want friends. You don't need them. I'm your friend. Mira, you're my sister, and I love you, but I want to lose weight anyway. I started exercising after a week. My mom and Mira and I ran to counseling sessions, communicating, asking questions. They made me a new diet plan, and I took it upon myself. I'll cook your meals separately. Your menu will hang on the fridge, so you watch too. If you need anything from the groceries, tell us and we'll buy it. Thanks, Mom. It's okay, Helga. I just want you to be happy. My mother always understood me, and I was grateful for that. Well, to be honest, my diet wasn't as strict as I thought it would be. I just ate a little more vegetables, and that's all. I was so happy that I wouldn't have to give up my favorite French fries and fried chicken, because my mom made that often, and I just loved eating those, especially before bedtime. My next consultation was due in a month, and in that time, I had fixed my weight before and prepared mentally to lose at least 5 pounds in 4 weeks. My school friends talked to me, but no longer invited me anywhere. We talked only on school grounds, and that was it. Of course, it was not enough for me, But I set a goal and believed that everything would work out. However, after a month of dieting and exercising, I got up on the scale and cried. God, honey, what happened? I'm fat! I'm fat, Mom! That's what happened! Why? It's been a month and I lost 200 grams! I just went to the bathroom, that's all! How come, Mom? I was dieting! I don't understand. Well, maybe it's because you're small. Maybe that's why your diet isn't so strict. I don't know, Mom. What if I stay like this? I won't have any friends left. Let's try to stick to the plan for now. Your nutritionist is away on urgent business. She'll be back in a month. Let's keep it this way, just for now. But after a month, I got on the scale and I saw plus 3 kilos on top. That's it, I almost broke the scale. I even thought it was lying. My mom listened to me again about how fat I was. I grabbed the phone and was about to call the nutritionist. She picked up, but then Mira ran up and snatched the phone and threw it into the other room. What? Mira, why did you do that? There's nothing wrong with you. The scales are just broken. Yeah, so is my phone now. Why did you do that? Girls, let's not do this. We're going to the appointment now. Let's see her there and we'll get a new meal plan. No, I want to be together. Mira ran up to the fridge and tore up the paper. What the hell is going on? Mirabella! She suddenly cried bitterly. My mom came up to her and hugged her and asked her what was wrong, to which my sister replied, If Helga loses weight, she'll leave me, and I don't want her to. I went up to her. Mira, did you do something? Yes. What? I switched your meal plans. I'm sorry. What? How could you? You switched it? Okay, girls, don't fight. Mom, how can you defend her? She changed my meal plans to make me fat. How could she do that? How? You would leave me. You'd get new friends and leave me. It's easy for you to make friends, but not for me. You think I don't understand that I'm doomed? You think I don't want to be like you? I'm autistic and I'm scared. I'm scared of new things, but I'm even more scared of losing you, sis. Her words stabbed into my head. I felt ashamed of myself, the greatest shame and remorse. My mother hugged us and told us that she would think of something, that it wasn't my responsibility, that everyone had their own life and we shouldn't force anyone to do what we didn't want to do. We had no right to do that. She was right, but it was hard to explain that to Mira. Anyway, we decided to have family weekends, time that we would all spend together and no one else. I found a group for Mira where she could go and meet people. They're trained. At first I went with her because she was scared, but then she got used to it a little bit. I promised that when she got better at being social, I would definitely take her with me, because I love her. Well, as for my weight, I did manage to lose weight. I lost about 15 kilograms in 3 months, and I'm very happy about it. Now I look okay, but I still have some work to do. Have I made any friends? Yes, and new ones. I decided to get rid of toxic people, and probably it was the incident with my sister, her desperate expression then, that made me do it. Anyway, everyone got what they wanted in the end. Isn't that cool? Hi everyone, my name is Zoe, and here I am with you in my gorgeous body. Oh yes. You see a girl with a non-supermodel figure in front of you right now and you're surprised? Yes, I don't have a thin waist, I'm not tall. On the contrary, I'm very short, 150 centimeters in heels. And I'm not thin. I'm, how they say, in the body and not fat and not thin. Something in between. But the fact is that because of my height, I get a lot of attention. I don't know how it happened, but I'll tell you the story, and you'll see. I was born small. I grew up small. I have small arms and legs, but I do have long hair. And it is, thanks to my care, shiny and pleasing to the eye. I don't argue, I always wanted to be taller, at least by 15 centimeters, but my family is like that. We Asians are rarely tall. My mother always said it was easier for smaller women to find a man, and I didn't know what she meant until I got older. Despite my height, I tried to look bright. I wore boots with rough high heels, a black leather miniskirt, a leather jacket, and a t-shirt, and I wore a high ponytail, and my hair still reached my belt. I remember going to a concert of a popular band. They were playing in my hometown. I waded through the crowd as best I could, but I still couldn't see anything. I decided to run to the side where there were policemen on duty. They saw me and grabbed me. "What's the kid doing here? Where's your mother?" "I'm not a child. Let me go." I'm already 16.
Yeah, tell me more. Let's go to the station.
Let go, I said. It's a concert for 16-year-olds and older.
That's right. Older, not younger. Come with us.
I tried to get away from them. My friends tried to talk the cops out of it, but they wouldn't listen. They took me to the police station where I yelled like crazy, and then I saw my mother. She calmly explained everything, brought my documents, and proved my age. The cheeky policeman apologized to me. Fuck you. Daughter, stop it. They'll put you away for insulting them.
Come on, Zoe. Now I know where you live and go to school.
Is that a threat, or is that a dumbass move?
We'll see. Goodbye, ma'am.
My mom took me home, and it took me a long time to come to my senses. The girls didn't even finish the concert. They came with me to cheer me on. Those fucking cops ruined my night, and I wasn't the only one. Come on, it happens. It's 'cause you're short. Well, thank you. She's right. If you were taller, they wouldn't have taken you away. Well, it's not my fault I'm so short. Don't be silly. It's cool. Why is it cool? All the men will be hitting on you. I wish I could be like you. I wish I was as small and petite as you. Thanks, but that doesn't make me feel any better. You can use your height and your body in general. How? Well, let's say to get back at that cop. How? Judging from your story, he's like 22, 23, so he's young and a cop. That makes him sexy. Ew, what are you talking about? Get your head in the game. Do you want to get back at him? Sneak into his office and do something. You're small, they won't see you. It's too risky. Then shut up about him and don't say anything. Thanks for the support, girls. The girls left, and I just couldn't stop myself. I thought about it and had an idea and went back to the station and sat in the car, waiting for that cop to come out. Eventually, he did, got in his car and drove away, and I followed him. He stopped for gas, so I took advantage of the moment and got in the back seat and waited for him. When he got in the car, we drove off in a direction I didn't know. He drove up to his house, pulled the car into the garage, and left. I climbed out of there and through the narrow doorway, then made my way into the hall and sat in the chair. I waited for him. I wanted him to know that I knew where he lived too, and that I couldn't be threatened. I was filled with anger. He seemed to be in the shower, and when he came out, I was in for a surprise too. He was naked. Ah! Ah! We yelled and looked at each other. He grabbed my jacket from the chair and covered himself with it. You're fucking naked!
I'm taking a shower. What the hell are you doing here?
Put your fucking clothes on! He turned around and put his robe on. Then he came back into the living room and asked me again what I was doing at his place. Just wanted to say hello. Don't think I'm so stupid that you can just scare me like that, okay?
Is that all you came for?
My cheeks instantly flushed. Yeah, I liked him, but I wasn't planning on flirting, so I grabbed my jacket and headed for the door.
Where are you going?
I told you, I'm going home. Then someone knocked on the door.
Damn, it's my wife! Quick, hide!
What? No way!
She'll kill you without asking.
He ran up to me, took me to his room, and hid me in a cupboard. I had to fold in half to get in. The cop pointed his finger at me, like, be quiet, and ran to open the door for his wife. I lay there for 3 hours, no less. It was something. My whole body was stiff, and I couldn't move. When he finally came back and opened the door, I realized I couldn't get up. He picked me up in his arms and put me on the bed. The cop laughed at my position, and I was in pain. What took you so long?
Sorry, it was my friend.
You said it was your wife.
I'm not married.
What? You! I tried to hit him, but I immediately fell down because my legs couldn't move. He said he was going to get me some coffee. After somehow getting downstairs, I sat down at the table, angry and disgruntled. His name was Cole. We got into a conversation. At first I was rude, but then somehow we started laughing. Cole said he'd never seen a girl as small as me and suggested a deal. According to him, they hadn't been able to solve a crime in a couple of months because they had to get into some pipes and put a camera in there. What if I get stuck in there?
The pipe won't be too small for you. It's too small for the rest of us. We can't even get half our bodies in there, and the robots can't reach it to install it. Time is running out, and we might not make it.
He offered me money to help the police, and I said I would only need immunity for them in return for their cooperation.
Immunity for what, exactly?
Well, for example, not to pull kids like me out of parties from now on.
No promises.
Then no.
Okay, don't get grumpy. What can I do if you're so nice?
Is that a compliment?
Consider it a compliment.
Well, thank you.
So, will you take the deal?
Yeah. So that's the deal we made. I set up that camera the next day, and they used it to track smuggling and catch the criminals. I was proud of myself. Afterward, his commander offered me a job as a hired agent for similar special operations. When my friends heard the news, they squealed. Their first thought was only that handsome men like Cole would be working around me. I was embarrassed, but agreed. I can't believe there will be so many men around you. And not just guys, cops. Come on, it's not a big deal. It's just a job. What if in the future you become a cop? I'd look good in their uniform.
They'll have to make you a custom one. There's no such thing as a child cop.
Oh, shut up. The girls were so proud of me and my luck and coincidence. I haven't told my parents about it yet, so as not to make a big deal out of it. Cole said it was against the law to use my help without their knowledge, though. So that same night, he came to our house. Dad was confused, saying he hadn't done anything wrong, but Cole was quick to reassure him. He told them everything and asked for their approval.
And why should we believe she'll be safe? I'll keep an eye on her.
And who are you to her? Cole coughed and then was like,
I'm her boyfriend.
What?
What?
Daddy was a little quiet, and then he said,
Well, if that's the case, your head's going to fly if anything happens to her. I'm ready.
My parents said okay. I walked him outside and hit him as soon as the door closed. What the fuck?
I'm sorry, I got confused.
They're gonna get me now.
Well, you don't have a boyfriend anyway.
How do you know?
I already found out.
I won't. I refuse, okay?
We'll pay you well.
How much?
Half your average salary.
And you owe me dinner.
Deal.
A few years have passed since then, and I was hired as an intern on the police team. I became the smallest police officer, also the only girl. All in all, girls, you don't have to have perfect parameters. Just treat yourself with dignity and find your purpose. Hello, everyone. My name is Angela. I want to share with you my incredible story about how I met an amazing guy despite being overweight, large hips, and a protruding stomach. Yes, it happens. It helped me not only to believe in myself, but also gave me a huge motivation to lose weight. My life has changed for the better, and I can't wait to share it with you. Well, you in turn, write an opinion in the comments, like the video, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. In general, I was born a rather thin child. Everyone told me in my childhood that I was very thin. My mother was worried that I was not eating, but my grandmother had the biggest tantrum. As you know, grandmothers are simply obsessed with making their grandchildren eat with a bang. That's how it was with me. I grew up and the pounds went into growth, but not in the sides. Personally, I did not care about the weight. I began to worry a few years later, and the reason for this was my move to my grandmother. Yes, as you may have guessed, I lived with her and I got fat sideways. Or rather, I almost stopped fitting in doorways because of the fat on my stomach. How did it come to this? Very simple. By the way, I moved to her because my parents went abroad to work. They couldn't take me with them, so they decided to leave me with Grandma for a while. I didn't mind because I loved the old lady so much. Even though she tried to feed me forever, otherwise she was super kind. So I packed up and my parents took me to her place. We said goodbye and they left for a year. My school was not far from my grandmother's house, so it was only about 5 minutes to walk. In the morning when I woke up, my grandmother was already on her feet and was making hard-boiled pancakes, donuts, and omelets. She would serve me a whole plate, and I had to eat it all. Otherwise, she would threaten that I would not go to school. For lunch, my grandmother usually wrapped me chicken or turkey with a salad and side dish, plus some fruit for dessert. It was a full meal. After lunch, when I came home from school, Grandma would make a casserole or pasta or something, and I sat with her alone and had dinner. The workload at school increased, so I had absolutely no time for walks with friends. After school, I did my homework until the evening, and then we sat down to eat until after lights out. In this mode, we lived for a whole year, and without noticing it, I began to gain extra pounds. Yes, at first I didn't notice how my cheeks were rounded, my stomach appeared. I noticed this only closer to the summer, when it was time for light t-shirts and thin jeans. Imagine! I took out last year's summer clothes and realized that I did not fit into them. With horror in my eyes, I walked over to the mirror and stared at my thighs, where my jeans were stuck, and my breasts, which just wanted to tear my t-shirt. I took off my clothes and began to look at the reflection, and it seemed to me that there was another person standing there. Really, for a year, my body had changed so much, and then I started to analyze my entire lifestyle recently and was upset. My grandmother immediately ran into the room, and I accused her for being like this. She was confused, and I began to eat even more from resentment and depression. I didn't need to be told to finish my meal, because I had turned into a locust and was eating everything that was edible. My figure became even wider, and it was a vicious circle. In the end, everything affected my self-esteem, and since we became more mature, the guys already arranged interesting parties to which I was invited. I went, but no one met me from the guys. My girlfriends comforted me, and I continued to eat. So another 6 months passed. My parents stayed late, and I ate and ate. So it was until one day when I was sitting in a cafe with friends, and a guy came up to us. His name was Derek. He sat down next to us and spoke. I thought he was hitting on my girlfriend, but to the surprise of everyone, including me, he asked my name. Incredulously, I met him. It seemed to me that he was playing a joke or wants to crack. I felt a growing sense of hunger inside me. It happened whenever I was nervous. In general, it did not take long, and we began to date. Yes, he was the bomb. Derek is a handsome guy with a toned body. He accepted me for who I am and did not even try to make adjustments to my appearance. Not only was I shocked, but so were my friends. Everyone looked at our relationship as a comedy. Someone assumed that I was rich and buying it, but this was not true. Derek always said I was beautiful, and his words really made me think that I was no worse than anyone else. So I began to develop a sense of confidence. I realized that Derek had genuine feelings for me, and I decided to trust him. He never said hurtful words to me, did not reproach me for being overweight, often bought goodies and found time to listen. I didn't know what kind of actions I'd met him for, but I was happy to have him. Once I went with him to the wedding of his friend, and there was a great photo shoot. I was wearing a pink floor-length dress, had my hair done up nicely, and I felt great. The evening was not without gossip about our relationship, but I tried to ignore it, as did Derek himself. We just enjoyed each other. So it was until I received photos from the event. There was a super photographer who is famous for his work all over the country. I would have liked to invite him to my house or hire him for a photo shoot, but his work was sky high. So here's what I'm getting at. Despite the fact that his work is gorgeous and does not require any criticism, when I saw our photos, I was horrified. In the photos, I looked like a pig. And yes, I'm not exaggerating. I was in shock and I just wanted to cry and cry. In my pink dress, instead of looking like a goddess, I actually looked like a pig. Derek reassured me, but at that moment I made an important decision: to radically change and work hard on myself. The very next day, I signed up to work out at the gym without telling anyone. I picked up a diet and I pulled myself together. And you know what? It's never been so hard for me. Each training session was harder than the last, My body ached and I was terribly hungry. I wanted to give up every time, but I forced myself to get up and go to training. I didn't want to change my body for anyone, not even Derek. I wanted to do it for myself, and through tears and a sincere, "I don't want to," I forced myself to go to the gym, and yes, I managed. I managed to do it every time. After 2 months, I realized that I could already go to the gym with ease, ate diet food, ate right, and I already even liked it. Derek was the first to notice the change. A month later, he asked me why I lost weight, and he was right. I lost 8 kilos in 1 month, another 5 in the second, and another 3 in the next 3 months, for a total of 22 kilograms. I could see the progress immediately, and I couldn't get enough of my new body and spirit. Yes, I realized that I had also strengthened morally, and I was glad of it. Derek was always worried about me, and then he started going to the gym with me. We began to work out side by side, and it became even more pleasant to go to training. My coach praised me, but at the same time was strict. I did not relax. Well, I did not allow myself this luxury. After a year, I was completely unrecognizable, and Derek and I were such a beautiful couple. We were envied by old friends, and the new ones had no idea what I was like before. You know, I was proud to show a photo and tell a story about motivation and self-improvement. I am sure that a good example is contagious, and I hope that other girls who have problems with excess weight will support me, make the right choice, and start working on themselves too. Everyone knows that this is the hardest job. In general, guys, write your opinion in the comments, and I'm waiting for your likes. Hi, I'm Josie. I can't wait to share my life story with you. I've been through a lot and still achieved my goal. You probably know what it's like to rub the nose of people who didn't believe in you. I will give you an example of a case that changed everything in me. I am waiting for your likes, support me, and I will be very pleased. I was born an ugly child. Yes, they say there are no ugly children, like women. But no, it happens. Of course, I was a beauty to my parents and other relatives, but that's not it. At a young age, when I played on the playground, many children asked why I have such a big, huge nose and small, like a pig's eyes. I didn't know what to say to them because I was born this way. It didn't bother me at first, but then when I started school, hell broke loose. I remember how on the first day I came home in tears because I saw a lot of other girls. They were all so lovely, in beautiful dresses, shoes, but it wasn't just the clothes because I also saw them. It was in the face. There is no other way to say it. I could see my nose with my own eyes, just looking down at it. Every morning when I washed my face, I tried not to look in the mirror. I finally fell into a depression. I felt like every day it was torture for me and I couldn't do anything about it. And then I got a boyfriend. Can you imagine? And yes, he was beautiful, very beautiful. I honestly didn't understand why he was with me. I met him at a clothing store while I was waiting to pay at the checkout. I lost my wallet and started to panic. It turned out that I dropped it at the fitting room. He noticed it, picked it up, and came over to me. That's how we met. I saw the saleswoman's puzzled look, and she didn't understand the way he looked at me any more than I did. Lance and I exchanged phone numbers and started chatting. We talked a lot and corresponded as much. Gradually, my self-esteem increased and I was so happy. Our first date was a couple of weeks later, and it felt like we'd known each other forever because we'd already shared a lot about each other. I was flying in the clouds. It seemed to me that this was a beautiful dream. How I did not want to wake up. I put on my best outfit for the date, and we had a great time together. So many topics to discuss. I felt that he really liked me, and it was a real miracle. Lance kissed me at the end of the night, and I cried. He got scared, asked me why I was crying, and I said I didn't understand why he was with me. I am teased by everyone, from school children to neighbors, compared to orcs, poked in my face, Even some children cry when they see me. Someone once asked me who I dressed up for Halloween, and I didn't dress up for anyone. I was just walking home from the store. Lance laughed and said that people are blind and don't see the main thing. What a wonderful person I am. That was the best compliment. We've been dating ever since. We didn't get to see each other every day, but we spent every day just chatting away. We didn't go out much. Lance preferred to sit in the park and eat, and that's how we spent our time. A month later, he invited me to visit him, and he made lasagna especially for me. After dinner, we were going to play video games, and suddenly, his phone rang. It was his friend. They chatted, and then I heard him say that he wasn't doing anything, that he was sitting at home alone. It bothered me. When Lance came back, I asked him why he lied. Lance admitted that he hadn't told his friends about me yet. I asked him why, and he didn't say anything. My mood dropped, and he tried to make a joke, but it didn't work. I asked if he was embarrassed about me, and Lance said it was stupid. Then he got a message that said, "I have a party tomorrow at 7. You were going to go there without me? Listen, we've been dating for over a month. Don't you want to introduce me to your friends?" I asked. "I would introduce you if I had friends. But what about you?" I continued. Lance hesitated for a long time and then said, "Let's go. I don't mind." Okay. I agreed and went home. The next day, I specially went to the store, did my hair and put on good makeup. In the evening, he picked me up and we went to the party. As soon as we went through the door, I heard voices. Everyone was calling for Lance. The guys came up to us and they started hugging him, saying hello, and then they noticed me and froze. At that moment, even the music stopped, and I realized that everyone was staring at me, at my face, and I felt uneasy. I looked at Lance, who was looking at the floor and didn't say anything. A second later, one of the girls said loudly, "Lance, who did you bring with you? Is this your sister or mother?" All at once neighed. I felt so sick from all of this. Tears rolled from my eyes. I ran out into the street, and he ran after me, trying to stop me, but I freaked out, pushed him away from me, and shouted that I knew it. "You didn't introduce me, didn't show me, because you're ashamed, right? Then why were you with me at all?" I shouted in tears, but Lance didn't even try to justify himself. The only thing he said was that I was a good conversationalist and it was fun for him to talk to me. He said I was a good person. I left. We broke up after that, and I think my boyfriend didn't mind at all. I was even more depressed than before. I just hated myself. I didn't go out of the room. I pulled all the mirrors out of the room. My mother was afraid for me. A few days later, I went to her kitchen and told her I wanted plastic surgery. Of course, my mother was against it at first. But then, when I told her everything about my life and how difficult it was for me, my mother agreed to pay for it. My mother found me a clinic and we went there. They decided to change my nose, make my eyes bigger, and slightly pump up my lips. But before that, my mom took me out of that school for a while, and I took a year off. I went under the knife. I was scared and excited, but I was determined. In the end, I had several operations. I took a long time to heal, and recovery was the most difficult process I've ever been through. I had to pass dozens of tests, take medication, keep a diet, and touch my face very carefully. But when all the bruises were gone, they gave me a mirror and I looked at myself. There was a completely different person. A new me. I became so beautiful, with a neat nose, big eyes, and plump lips. For a year, my hair grew, and I changed my color from brunette to blonde. I changed my wardrobe, began to dress brighter, and this gave me confidence. I chose the day when I decided to go back to school to start studying again. All my classmates were in shock, as well as teachers. I went into the building a different person, and now no one dared to say offensive words to me. In the evening of the same day, there was to be another party, which was a year ago. I was going to go there and say hello to my ex. As soon as I stepped inside, I was enveloped in nostalgia. Once again, all eyes were on me. The music stopped, and I saw Lance. He stood and chatted with a girl. It hasn't changed much in a year. I went up to him and told him that I was grateful for everything, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be like this. Lance couldn't get a word out. It was flattering. Then I was about to leave, and he stopped me. We went out on the street. My ex tried to take my hand, talked about feelings that didn't cool down, said that he was stupid, and asked me to forgive him. I just said I didn't hold a grudge anymore and was about to leave when his girlfriend, the one who was laughing at me, ran out. She asked what we were talking about, and I told her the truth, that we were discussing my beauty. The girl made a grimace, and then jealousy boiled up in her. It was obvious. I won. She called me a beast, and I pushed her right into the mud and left. Lance still texted me after that, asking me to be together, but I already didn't need him. I started a new life, beautiful and full of happy moments. Now I knew my worth. Do not forget to put likes, write your opinion in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to this channel. Hello everyone, my name is Laura, and I want to tell you my story about what we are never taught in school, what teachers, friends, or even parents will never teach us. It's important though. I genuinely believe that lessons on self-esteem and emotional stability are simply required to be included in the school curriculum, but adults do not care. They say you need brains and that's all. You need to be a good student, then a good girl, wife, mother, employee. We were only told how to act and how not to lose yourself among the crowd, how to tease your curls, straighten your legs, or lose excess weight. We weren't told how to survive angry people, the hundreds of stares staring after you. And I'll tell you it all, because it's important. Every girl just has to know it and understand it, for their own sake. Have you ever heard the expression, don't be born beautiful, but be born happy? I do not know what kind of idiot came up with this, but I am sure that this person had no problems with popularity at school. There were no show-offs with appearance in their social circle. After all, only people like us can understand us. I am now talking about those who are deprived of attention in class and in the entire world. I, like no one else, understand the feelings of being an outcast. What to do if you were born like that, without a gorgeous figure, hair, or long legs? What to do if you don't have money, but at the same time you are smart and study well? As it turned out, brains are not always the way out of it. Because if you're ugly and you're a good student, then you're a terrible nerd. And if you're a bad student, then you're just scary. Which expression do you like best? I've heard both. At first, when I got tired of my shadow of a life, I decided to just get good grades. I knew that I would be approached by girls from my class, like give me a copy of my books, and I thought that if I studied well, maybe helped them with their studies, I could ask a favor. I could ask them to make me more beautiful. That was my plan. Did it work? Listen to my story. This girl's name is Kimberly, and she's the most popular. Not only does she have good looks, but she also has money. Plus, she's dating the captain of our school's basketball team, Dick. They are a beautiful couple, and everyone always admires them. And I was jealous. It seemed to me that if I had such an appearance, then 70% of my problems would simply disappear and fall onto those who are not like that. That is, like me. I have no problems with being overweight, but I always thought that I was overweight. I do not know how to do my makeup, do my hair, and often just wear the same thing every day. But my mother persisted in admiring me, especially when I got good grades. In general, my plan worked. Kim began to ask me for help. I helped her without fail. First once, then 3 more times, then almost every day. The tasks that were given for us to do individually, I did for her, and went to her house. In those moments, she called me a friend, even though I knew she didn't mean it. And then one day, when I went to her house to study, the lessons dragged on until late. Her friends, April and Erica, came to her house. They were cousins, but they were so much alike. They talked me into staying for their bachelorette party. At first, I couldn't find a place. I thought it was better to leave, because all they talked about was guys, and then they started asking me if I had anyone. It was immediately clear from my face that I didn't, so they started giving me advice. And then I took the chance. I asked for help. They were delighted. They immediately pulled off my clothes, loosened my hair, and began to work wonders. It was painful, strange, and wild, but I endured it. After 3.5 hours, I was allowed to look in the mirror, and I saw another girl in front of me. I didn't even recognize myself at first. I no longer looked like that gray mouse. I had decent makeup, dress, shoes, and hair. I looked more beautiful than I'd ever looked in my life, and Kim proudly admired her work. "Well, you're one of us now," she said. I didn't know what she meant, but I liked it. The very next day, I showed up at school in my new look. Everyone looked at me and admired me, and I just prayed I wouldn't twist an ankle in my heels. It was the best day of my life, the best I've ever felt. From that moment on, everyone began to look at me differently, and Kim constantly walked around. I knew that she now thought that I would forever owe her or something, and I was right. After a couple hours of fame, the compliments to me enraged Kim. Suddenly, everyone began to think that I was more beautiful than her, more spectacular, and she didn't like it. And then she conceived a plan born of envy. While I was being blinded by a wave of unexpected fame, while the guys were making eyes at me, she came up behind me and pushed me face first into the dirt. I fell in front of everyone, just before the entrance to the school. Everyone started laughing, taking pictures, and they immediately forgot that they had just showered me with compliments. And when I looked up at her, she said that friends are friends and no one has the right to take her place. The next day, I came back to school in my old clothes and was invisible again. Everyone just laughed at my photos in the mud, and that's it. No one remembered my beauty. I faded, and I was crushed. I had no idea what to do next. And then April came up to me. It was unexpected. I thought she wanted to give me a message from Kim, but she told me to come to her house in the evening and then quickly ran away. I didn't know what she wanted, but I went anyway. April asked me to keep our meeting a secret. Even Erica wasn't supposed to know anything. She told me that the image of me in the dress had hit everyone on the spot. Kim noticed it, and therefore she was afraid. But what is she afraid of? I asked, and then April answered, losing her popularity. She's the most beautiful girl we have in the school right now, and imagine if she's not just replaced, but replaced by you, a girl who spent more than half of her school life in the shadows. It will be a huge blow to her, April said, and then promised to help me restore my reputation. But why are you helping me? I asked incredulously, to which April replied that Kim had once shamed her in front of everyone at school as well. I remembered that day. Those two friends came to school in identical skirts, and Kim ordered her friend to take it off. April promised that she would take it off when she got home. She can't walk around naked. But